introductions out of the way. Hello one and all, my name's John Clare.
I'm Roman Push.
This is the Post Watch Post Mortem, and today's movie we want to talk about is Kick-Ass. So thank you for joining us today, and we hope you find this conversation amusing, entertaining, and somewhat, we hope you find it amusing and entertaining at least anyway. Right, okay. So, Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Like it. I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a good movie. Like it's it doesn't. It's not a pretentious movie. It's not it's all around a pretty good movie. Like
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's fairly solid. Do you know what I mean? Some nice visual touches here and there. Great soundtrack.
Yeah, good soundtrack. Very
Really
cool
good
soundtrack.
Yeah. And it was kind of the kick-off point for quite a few of the actors. I mean, in terms, we already knew who. What's his name? Let me just get the full cast up here. We already knew who Nicolas Cage was, obviously.
Big Daddy.
And Mark Strong, your man crush, he's in that as well.
Yeah.
And
No, it's not my favorite Mark Strong movie, to be fair.
no, because let's be honest. Like, I mean, look, he's a good actor. He's got good presence and everything. But you know, the problem is like there's quite a few British actors in this doing kind of ropey American accents.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mark Strong's is not the most convincing. Who else is there?
It's a cool movie anyway. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
Mark Strong is never good playing the villain.
I don't know about that. He's played a few good villains.
No,
man.
not superhero villain. He doesn't know. He did like a Shazam superhero.
Was
villain.
he the villain in the? Was he in the Prestige or am I thinking?
He was never in the Prestige.
Was he in Prestige?
No, he was never in Prestige.
No, he wasn't. Was he? What am I thinking of? Oh no! Fucking! He was in the first Sherlock Holmes movie. That's why I'm getting confused.
Yeah, he played a villain in this one. Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yes.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought, but in terms of the point I was making, it was a really useful introduction. So, like Chloe Grace Moritz, who's gone on to do, I think, very well for herself. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, it's basically his first movie, kind of.
Yeah, that's right. And what also makes me quite, well, I think this has been well pointed out quite a few times. The fact that both he and Evan Peters played the same superhero character, Quicksilver, in two different franchises.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them Marvel franchises, one by Fox and the other one by Marvel themselves. And funny enough, it was Evan Peters' Quicksilver that comes across the best of the two, because A, he was featured in more movies, and B, in Days of Future Past, there was that kind of cool sequence in the kitchen where he kind of dives around the place and kind of...
There's two of them. There's one where he save all the students from... there's this one when they save Magneto from the Pentagon, and in the kitchen is just like he go around and just like a slow motion and do like with the music. If I can put the time in the bottle or something like that. And then in the second movie, there's a big explosion at the
Professor Xavier's Academy
house.
for...
Yeah, and basically... Well, the explosion is like starting to just like destroy everything. It's just picking up everybody.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, but to be honest with you, he was only known for those sequences. To be honest with you, and they were as cool as they were. But Christopher Mintz-Plasse. We first met him in Superbad. As what was the name of the character?
I don't remember Superbad.
No,
I have very poor memory for Superbad.
I think I don't. Have I ever watched it? I think I've watched it once. I don't know. But yeah, I would just remember that he's in that. But it's kind of it's a cool movie, man. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always really enjoyed it. To be honest, when I watch it, it's one of those. I mean, it's not a very complicated movie.
No. It's a comedy, first of all.
Yeah.
It's a comedy. It's very dark. It could be darker, as you told me. Maybe the comic books is a bit more darker.
Oh, the comic book's way more dark.
Yeah.
Because I think Mark Millar is quite nihilistic in a lot, from what I've read of his stuff. Because I only read like a couple of his books. I haven't read loads of his stuff. But I do have like a list up here. I mean, I read Old Man Logan. I think I read Superior, but it's been a while since I've read it, if I have read it. Nemesis I've definitely read. Where basically rich people end up paid to become the supervillain for a short period of time or whatever. And obviously you got Kick-Ass and a few other books as well that he's quite well known for. Kingsman, you may, for those who know Kingsman, like the first movie was brilliant, also directed by Matthew Vaughn. The second film was also directed by Matthew Vaughn and wasn't nearly as good. I don't think. But yeah, I really like Kick-Ass. I mean, also Kick-Ass is another film that was kind of played by a very much inferior sequel. To be perfectly honest.
No, yeah, there was a setup for a sequel, but like, yeah. We need to watch again the sequel.
We do.
I don't really remember it. Like I remember it vaguely. I think I watched it once.
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it once when it came out of the cinema, purely because I was so hyped after. Because I really did enjoy the first Kick-Ass. I still do, man. I think it's a really good, very entertaining movie. It's really funny. Like I said, some like really nice visual touches here and there. Especially, I mean, I remember the first time I watched it. You know the scene where like. When Hit Girl comes to rescue Big Daddy in Kick-Ass, and he's getting burned alive, but he's still kind of delivering her instructions.
Do you know what I like about this?
I actually teared up when I first watched it.
Do you know what I like about that scene? It's like instead of like they show a scene with like it's the economy. You don't have to show like your character badass all the time, but you like to be to like everything slow motion, and you see every action going up. And what I like about what's his name again of the director?
Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn, like same in Kingsman as well, is like. So we see what's the name? Hit Girl.
Hit Girl, yeah.
We see Hit Girl like kicking the goons like into the apartment like scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we don't see her, and then we see that scene. They kind of hide everything that she's doing. You see her from a perspective from the Google or stuff like that.
Because
it's like
very
more slow motion.
FPS thing going
It's slow
on
motion not to show the action, but slow motion to make it intense. Like she's gonna make it. Like it's the slow motion you put when you like the guy is jumping and everything is slow motion and stuff like that. Like, and that's not a slow motion of to be cool. It's a slow motion to be intense and this paid off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what I like about the building scene, the skyscraper scene,
at the end,
it's a very Matthew Vaughn thing, because I see that in Kingsman as well.
Yeah,
it's like there's literally slow motion is like almost no there, and it's like, for example, in Matrix, they will show you the entire scene like, and like you see the bullet flying and stuff like that. This one is so fast, so like it's so fast. You go with the rhythm of the music, and the only slow motion is like when she's reloading or stuff like that, or she's doing like thing. But like there's like you think what I'm talking about is that like they build up that scene instead of showing like action like straight away, like they build up that scene with It Girl, like, so they show you a bit of It Girl, in the middle they show you a little bit, they show you another little bit, and then you pay off at the final, like that's what I find like John Wick a bit boring, so that they keep you showing everything. But like it's badass there, it's badass there, it's badass there. Like Kid is always badass, but like what I mean is like too much.
Yeah, because I think, to be honest with you, I mean, because like, I remember when we spoke about with John Wick Part 3, is that it's just like it just doesn't. It's just like fight scene after fight scene. It's very self-indulgent.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like as you said, when you're more economical with your use of action,
and also like, you build tension, you build because in John Wick there's no tension, like it's him fighting goons, and there's no well, in
the first one there was. So in the first and the second one.
What I mean by tension, for example, there's tension with the scene when Big Daddy is getting burned alive, and I think first of all there's a build up of drama, because they you see them like nothing is nothing is gonna save them. Even the narrator of Kick-Ass. They say like, oh, have you ever? It's not because I'm narrating that it's gonna end well.
Have you
ever
seen
like,
American Beauty and all that kind of thing?
Yeah. And then you have that scene that's just like got saved, and even that scene is very dramatic, and there's a music. Even the music is like it's not an action movie. This music scene is like just like a very melancholy, violent thing. Like so. That was I don't charge this scene as an action scene. It's more like an emotional scene, because she's basically her dad gave her the last advice and the last thing before he passed away. Basically, like you're like. And
it tells how proud of he is.
There you go. That's it, pretty much. That's our character build up, basically. Like and instead of being an action scene, like
I mean that's the thing. I think it's really not only that. One thing I mean,
like what I meant with all this is like be economical. Just don't do action scenes for the sake of doing action scene.
Yeah.
To do it if you want because it's cool, but like your movie shouldn't be just only action scene and blah blah, and then action scene and a little bit of blah blah and a bit of action scene, a little bit like John Wick did, like pretty much.
Well, I mean, again, in the first John Wick, it was like there was a lot more character build up. There was a lot more tension build up.
World building.
Yeah, world building, everything else. Like, but I think by the time we got to, I mean, don't get me wrong, four definitely kind of improved upon 3, but I think 3 was just a bit too much. It was just like non-stop action, and even it was still kind of very prevalent in 4 as well. Sometimes the action scenes felt they were going on for fucking forever.
Same for the last one, like it's just like
4, yeah.
Sorry, that was the fourth one.
But yeah, I think to be honest, I think when you're allowed to kind of build up the characters and build up interest and investment in the characters, which I think they do relatively well with Kick-Ass. Like we feel invested in David Mazursky because he wants to be like. He's this kind of dorky kid. Although, to be honest with you, like if you go back to the original comic book, right, which I have read, and in the original comic book, he's much more of a dorky kid who everyone. The things, like by the end of the movie, like he gets the girl and he becomes the hero.
The bad guy is gone.
Yeah, all of that. But the thing is, from what I remember, I've read the book in fucking donkey's ages. It's been the best part of a decade since I've read it. But the thing is, from what I remember though, it was a lot darker. It was grimmer. He doesn't get the girl. Mm-hmm. She ends up, which the second movie really clumsily tried to kind of retro. She ends up dumping him very unceremoniously in the second movie. It's just really weird. But yeah, I think in the original book, yeah, he was a lot more of a loser. Whereas in the movie of Kick-Ass, in the first one,
it's just like
there's a real hero's journey with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I really like about it. I think there's a really and there's a hero's journey for him. There's a kind of not so much a redemption arc, but there's definitely a strong arc for Hit Girl, who I think was Chloe Grace Moritz at the time. I mean, I think she was only like 13 or 11, 12, 13, I think. Yeah. Like a very young actress at the time. I thought she'd done brilliant. She's really kind of like, she's very charismatic. She's
that's the problem with kids. Kids are great actors. Like if a kid is like into the thing they're doing, they're great actors.
Yeah, and I thought she'd done fantastically well. I mean, in that role, I haven't really seen too much of her since then. I think I might be kind of like having a bit of a brain fart here, but I don't remember seeing her in too much else. I know she's done other things. I know she was in the remake of Carrie and a few other bits and pieces, but I don't really remember seeing her in too much since. But yeah, I thought she was brilliant in this, to be perfectly honest with you. And the fact that she I mean, what I also liked is Nicolas Cage was really good in it, but he was kind of, I like the fact he kind of tuned himself down.
It's just what I was going to say. Like it's a tuned down version of Jim Carrey.
Do you know what I mean? Not Jim Carrey, Nick Cage.
Nick Cage, sorry.
Yeah, Jim Carrey's in the sequel.
The sequel, you're right.
But yeah, that's what I like about it. I like the fact he kind of tuned it down a little bit. Don't get me wrong, he's still Nick Cage, and especially in the death sequence when he starts kind of giving out the instructions, that kind of Nick Cage starts coming through a good bit. But I really like how, Nick Cage, the fact that Chloe Grace Moritz was still able to kind of hold her own with Nick Cage, because Nick Cage can be I'd imagine quite an overpowering presence. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really enjoyed Nick Cage's performance in this. I really like Aaron Taylor-Johnson. I think the fact that even though he's this big handsome kid, especially if you see him in later movies. I mean, if you see he was just in Bullet Train, which I really want to see. We need to do a podcast on that.
Watch a podcast, yeah.
Apparently, he was brilliant in that. I thought, to be honest with you, he was outdone by in Age of Ultron, because I think he carried himself well. He was just given a crap role and
a crap role with a crap arc, like basically.
Yeah, exactly.
He dies in a movie that he's in, like basically.
Yeah, exactly.
For Marvel character is the worst.
Yeah, he just comes in, he gets introduced, and then gets carted off again, which I thought was a real shame. Because there was much more they could have done with that character if they chose to, but they chose to go a different way, and I think they made a mistake there. But yeah, I think Aaron Taylor, the cast is generally pretty solid in general. I mean, like even the supporting characters, like Evan, what's his face? Evan Peters. He went on to do American Horror Show. He went on to do, again, play Quicksilver. He's done other bits and pieces as well, so he's done pretty well for himself. Chloe Grace Moretz, like I said, has done pretty well for herself. I'm not too sure what she's been doing. I mean, like,
lots of voice acting.
Yeah, that's right. She's done. Yeah, from my understanding, she's done quite a lot of that.
Same for Chloe Grace. Chloe Grace. I saw her in the Netflix adaptation of the book Nimona. Nimona. It was a good kid, like a good entertaining show. Like,
okay, cool.
I think she was the main highlight of the thing because she was bringing all the comedy and all the timing.
Yeah.
No, she's good.
What's going on there? Right, okay. I'm just trying to find, because also there was quite a few. I mean, aside from like Mark Strong, I'm trying to remember Dexter Fletcher. That's it. Good old Dexter Fletcher. Because he used to be like, he was a bit of a kind of like staple on British TV back in the 90s. I remember him in him doing Games Master, and also he was like he was like one of the main characters in Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. Mm-hmm. You know, he's done bits and pieces over time, but yeah, like there's quite a few like old kind of Jason Fleming as well. He's been in quite a few of
Dexter Fletch. I just want to see what are you talking about. Okay,
that's him there.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Fleming. He's been in quite a few Guy Ritchie movies.
Yeah, I remember him in the scene when they're in the cage thing. You know, like there's a weed, like.
Oh yeah, Lock, Stock, yeah.
Yeah, Lock, Stock, yeah.
So yeah.
Oh no, he's not. It's one of the.
No, he's one of the mates.
He's one of the mates, yeah.
Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Nick, you could choke a dozen donkeys with that. When he starts pulling out of the woods. But yeah, I think it's a good movie, man. I mean, but also like the reason why you probably see a lot of these like these kind of like British like B-list, C-list actors. I don't mean that disparagingly, but the reason why you probably see a lot of them because like Matthew Vaughn used to be a producer for a lot of Guy Ritchie's movies, so he would be you'd see his name in the credits for Lock, Stock, for Snatch, for everything else that kind of came afterwards. And then he kind of went on his own to make his own movies. The first movie he directed was Layer Cake. I think that's about 2005-ish, if I recall correctly, starring Daniel Craig. Who were later, it was based off that movie that he ended up becoming Bond, and yeah, cool movie. But yeah, a few interesting facts about it.
Layer Cake. We never watched it together.
Are you sure?
We never did. No, we never did.
You've never seen it?
No,
we need to write that wrong. We need to sort that out. Layer Cake's actually not a bad movie.
From
actually.
the images,
when was it released?
I see from the images. Like, yes, I can see the Bond coming out.
Yeah, exactly, mate. You can really see it. What year was it come out at?
2004.
2004, yeah, that sounds about right.
And this movie also kick-ass. It's such an aim for the early 2000s.
2010s, yeah.
2000, like 2005, 2009, 2000, because of the score they use of the flip phone. Yeah, because today, MySpace, the Skrillex that it's Prodigy. Was it Prodigy?
Yeah, Omen.
Omen from Prodigy. Even like Crazy from what's his name again?
I know. You think you're crazy.
Crazy. Can't remember. Like that's very like that's my generation. That's how I grew up like as well. Like
yeah, it's of its time, definitely, very much so. But yeah, I think in terms of like how good the movie, in terms of its cultural impact, I mean, at the time it was quite prevalent. But I don't really think it's had much staying power, do you?
Gnarls Barkley?
Gnarls Barkley, yeah, that's right,
yeah. Crazy.
But I think it's quite surprising because at the time, we watched
even the song that was used for like 20 Days Later, like this the music of 20 Days Later.
Oh yeah. Or the score, you mean?
The score, yeah. It was using the same score as well at some point as well.
Yeah, but do you know what I find quite interesting about this movie? Because like last week we talked about Scott Pilgrim.
Yep.
Right, which we both adore. Right. And Kick-Ass. They come out at the same time.
Yes.
Right?
But
I find it quite interesting that Scott Pilgrim's probably had more staying power and aged a lot better than this has.
Also, I'm sorry, Matthew Vaughn is a very good director, but
He's not Edgar Wright.
It's not Edgar Wright.
No, it's very difficult to be Edgar Wright.
No, it's like no, it's not to beat, because Edgar Wright is funny in visual. It's smart. It's look. I'll tell you, in 20 years' time, people will still look like, oh, this fucking great, that movie.
Yeah, that's what that was the point I was going to make.
Yeah.
Because I think Scott Pilgrim's aged a damn sight better than this movie has. I think Kick-Ass has not aged as well, because I think as you quite rightly pointed out, it kind of locked itself in the time it was in. Whereas with Scott Pilgrim, it's kind of got a kind of ageless quality to it, because it doesn't kind of like.
Also, we are in a time that we kind of it was the first like corny superhero movie, and like on the mainstream, like what I mean. Like it came in the time that we were not saturated by superhero movie.
True.
Today, you say edge poorly, it's because today's market, there's super movie, there's at least 15 super movie on TV or in cinema right now.
No, I wouldn't say it. I don't mean it in that way. I mean, I just feel that, like, in terms of its aesthetic, in terms of like, I think I feel it's very, like, I think it's very of its time. Yeah. That's what I mean.
What I say is, it look old, but it's more like it's more like, it's an honest look old, like, like he honestly look old. Like Scott Pilgrim doesn't look old. No. This one look old. Look old because it's of this time, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because I think the big problems are, like, for instance, I mean, another movie like that came a few years later, directed by Matthew Vaughn, Kingsman, right?
Kingsman, yeah.
I think that film still looks absolutely fantastic. Why? Because it does. I think it's very easy for films to kind of get. It's like Wall Street aged itself almost straight away because of the technology of the time and using cultural touchstones from the time. Like, and if that's deliberate artistic choice, then that's fine. I'm not necessarily saying it's bad if it's aged poorly, because it feels very kind of, like I said, Kick-Ass feels very much of, like you say, the late 2000s, early 2010s. It's very much of that time, because it chooses to use MySpace. It chooses to mention, everyone's using flip phones, all that kind of crack. Whereas, like, by not directly referencing those brands, keeping it quite loose with, I don't know. I think it's very difficult to kind of like make something that's timeless. I think it's very difficult to do it in a way that's intentional. Do you know what I mean?
Also, it was released 4 months later, apart, almost 4 months apart.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's the same year, like, pretty much. Yeah.
And maybe released by the same studio as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite interesting because, like, also, like, when did Universal release The Incredible Hulk? The one with Edward Norton that was part of the MCU.
Look for. I think 2003. I mean, the last one, 2008.
Yeah, 2008, so that's 2 years prior. And that's the reason why we've never seen an Incredible Hulk movie since, is because the actual rights to distribute Incredible Hulk movies are owned by Universal. That's why we haven't seen an Incredible Hulk movie through Marvel Studios, ergo Disney. Do you know what I mean?
And Captain America, first Captain America, it's 2011.
Well, that was Universal as well, was it?
No, it's not. But like, I was thinking of, because Scott Pilgrim was 2010. So it was basically when we see the what's the name of the actor? Chris Evans. It was before he got the role for. Maybe he got the role for.
Probably, I'd say. I mean, you got to bear in mind a lot of these movies will be shot and released at different times.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
But yeah, I mean, like, in terms, so in terms of like the movie itself, I think the movie's like aged. Is very much of its time. I think it's aged quite poorly.
It's not a bad thing.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just of its time. But in terms of like as an adaptation from the original source material, I think it's one of those ones where it's kind of improved upon the original source material. So I don't mean disrespect to Mark Millar, but I honestly reckon that the movie, because it has a little because by the end of it, it doesn't feel, it feels very hopeful. It feels very optimistic. It feels like, we're going to go, this franchise will hopefully go on to do other things, will, become bigger, because fair play to them, right? And I want to really kind of give credit to these guys. They shot that movie basically on a shoestring. Do you know what I mean? They shot it for, at the time, $30 million. I'm trying to find out exactly how much that is worth now, but I'm guessing if you had, I'd say about, in today's money, that'd probably be about 45 million at a guess. Mm-hmm. Right? And, to shoot a movie of that kind of quality, and let's be honest, it might not have aged well, but it still looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it does look good.
Do you know what I mean? And the fact, everything looks crisp, everything's well shot, the special effects don't look absolutely atrocious.
No. There's a lot of reuse of decor, for example, because do you know what? They have like one set or two, that's a budget thing.
Oh, yeah.
So they basically, if one day we have that set, we shoot all the scene in that set.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's economical.
Yeah. So it's an economically shot movie. It's well done. It's got a great cast, great young cast at the time. I think
everybody's having fun.
Everyone's having fun. I mean, you can really see that.
Even the it's called Stu Large Riley. Huge goon, the big the one with the bazooka.
Yeah, I liked him.
You can see he has a laugh playing this movie. You're like, he was good in it.
Man.
It was one of the highlight things. You're like, he didn't say anything. He was like, is that a bazooka? Okay.
Yeah. But I think, you can see, you can really feel like there was a sense of fun on the set. You think, I think also what really didn't help the sequel, because Matthew Vaughn didn't. I think, what did he go on to direct after that? Because although it was still shot by his production company Marv, they got I think they got one of the script writers from the original. He shot. Let me have a look. What was his name? Give me 2 seconds. Let me just get the old.
He did Tetris.
Did he?
The movie Tetris is kind of Tetris is weird. It's kind of
that's on Apple TV, isn't it?
It's an Apple TV movie. Yeah. Basically, it's the weird thing about it is like a spy movie, like talking about the Cold War and try to save that guy that developed the game Tetris thing to the USSR thing. So there's like basically a history. I don't know if it's history. I don't know what's. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got Taron Egerton in it.
No, it's not director. Sorry. Oh, my bad. Give me a second. Credit. So I'm in Matthew Vaughn. Upcoming 7. It's just a producer.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
No worries. No,
sorry.
done. But another thing I want to kind of touch upon, as I like to do.
Director. I never use fucking
IMDb. We'll start getting familiar with it.
Yeah.
But
well, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But going to the Rotten Tomatoes, the scores are pretty similar, 77, 81. Do you know what I mean? I just think that good movie.
Yeah, Kingsman. That's the only one he directed the last time. The first Kingsman.
What's that?
Kingsman is the only one. That's the new one.
The King's Man.
Kingsman.
Yeah. Do you know what? I thought that it's an improvement on the sequel. The Golden Circle's a bad movie. I don't care what anyone says. It's really bad.
It's better than this one.
But I think that The King's Man is an improvement. It's definitely an improvement. I like Ray Fiennes in it. I think, he does have a certain distinguished nobility about him. So I think he does quite well with the role. And as one of the key founders to the kind of like the sky, the organisation of the Kingsmen,
Yeah. So we talk about the music, kind of. We talk about the box office.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about both of them. We didn't need to do a resume because it's a pretty old movie. I think people who watch this video probably watched it already. Yeah. I think they should watch it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it is a good movie. I mean, I think the big problem is right now, it's like, it's just it's a good movie. It's not.
No, it's not a great movie.
No.
But like it's a good entertainment. It's comedy. There's good action. It's a great movie to watch in the background or stuff like that. That's like, I mean, like every good movie is good to watch in the background if you already watched it and like.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't know. I just think that it's just, I don't know. I'm struggling with this because like it's one of those movies where like it's like as an adaptation, like it's an improvement. Like they said, the comic book. I think because Mark Millar, if I remember rightly, and it's been a while since I've read any of his stuff, so I don't want to be. I just feel like from what I recollect, he is quite nihilistic. Right, he tends to be quite dark. Dark. It's like Old Man Logan. I remember reading that going back around about 2008 or 9. I think it was. I read that. Which the film Logan was based on. Because you've got to bear in mind, Mark Millar is actually a very influential comic book writer. Mm-hmm. Right, he was involved. I think he was involved with Civil War, the original comic book.
Yeah,
he was involved with Old Man Logan. He was involved with a lot of the Ultimate universe. I think he helped co-create. He was one of the main creative bodies behind the Ultimate Marvel universe, which then became its. Because the idea behind that, from what I recollect, is that it was supposed to be kind of like a jump off, almost like a reset for people who hadn't read the comic book. So like they come in and find their own version of Spider-Man. This is where Miles Morales Spider-Man comes from.
Okay.
So there'll be a different version of Captain America. There was a different version of Thor. It ended up almost like they became parallel universes, and you had like the Ultimate Universe and the Marvel 616 universe. And then in the end, they had to when it started off, it was supposed to be very much like a clean slate for all the characters, for someone who's never read the Marvel comic books to come in and jump in and get a fresh start with it. Mm-hmm. The problem was it kind of became as unwieldy as the original Marvel universe became over the course of about a decade. So Marvel ended up kind of smushing them back together again. So, and I think they ended up losing quite a lot of what was unique about the ultimate Marvel universe. But Mark Millar was very instrumental in that creation of that. But he's also instrumental in things like Civil War. He's a very, like, the fact that he's like a Scottish kid, I think he's from like Inverness or something like that up in Scotland. Actually, wait a minute, I think I've got oh yeah, I do have his webpage up. Where was he from? Mark Millar, president, his previous work. There's a bio page on him. There he is. Just let's have a look. President of Netflix Marvel Worlds. He lives in Los Angeles. Where's he from now? He's from up in Scotland anyway. He's from Coatbridge in Scotland. So, but yeah, like, the fact that this Scottish kid was able to become one of the most influential comic book writers of the 2000s, so over the new millennium, mm-hmm. And has been able to spawn off all these different franchises like Kick-Ass. Like, have you ever seen Wanted?
Yeah, I did see Wanted. It's a bit of a weird movie, to be fair.
Yeah, that's also based on...
Okay. Very also dark as well, like, yeah.
I mean, I don't think... But also, I think, like, I think Mark Millar is actually kind of strange as a writer as well, because he doesn't kind of insist on kind of it being a literal adaptation of his work. I think it's quite... As long as he trusts the creative vision of the... Because I think he was quite comfortable working with Matthew Vaughn, because also Jane Goodman was one of the writers as well. Who, for those who don't know, she's the wife of Jonathan. Oh, bloody hell! What's his name? It's not relevant. But anyway, Jane Goldman. She ended up becoming like. That's her there. She's the wife of Jonathan. Oh God, bloody hell! It's going to annoy me now.
She's the wife of somebody.
Jonathan Ross. Ross. She's Jonathan Ross's missus. She's also like, she's gone on to become like a writer in her own right. She's done very well for herself. And yeah, like, she's worked with Matthew Vaughn quite a lot. So Mark Millar was very comfortable in working with Jane Goldman and Matthew Vaughn in terms of the creation of the Kick-Ass franchise and subsequently the Kingsman franchise. Mm-hmm. So he kind of let them kind of have a little more creative license. So a lot of writers like Alan Moore, mm-hmm. Alan Moore's very precious about his work, understandably so, because he created like the Watchmen.
It's a baby.
Yeah, exactly. He created Watchmen. He created V for Vendetta. He created he's another massively influential British writer in the comic book scene, and he's a lot more precious about his work, from what I understand. But Mark Millar is actually like, no, if I trust what you're doing, then yeah, okay,
Yeah, go
let's see
on.
where you go with it.
If
And
you respect my
Yeah.
what I wrote, like, go for it.
and not only that, he's also like, you know, he's
it's the same
credited
with
as one of
Scott
the
Pilgrim.
writers.
It's the same with Scott Pilgrim. Like Brian Lee O'Malley was like a part of the writing team and stuff like that. And do like, yeah, it was do like it took part in each of the movies or the animated series. Like, yeah.
Well, I think that's quite, you know, I think generally speaking, if you have the ability. No, it's not. I know it's not always possible. If you're making like Shakespeare, or if you make
You cannot call somebody.
yeah, you can't call Shakespeare. Hey, Will, can you do us a favour? Do you want to become part of our writing team? No, that's not feasible. But I think if you've got the opportunity to have the original creator on board to help further the characters or whatever else, to help kind of further the story or take it in a different direction, I think that should happen. Do you know what I mean? And it's wonderful to see it when it does happen. You're looking up Kick-Ass 2, I see.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kick-Ass 2. Well, the problem of Kick-Ass 2 is success of Kick-Ass 1.
Maybe.
Got too much budget, or they try to do bigger.
Well, that's always the problem, though, isn't it? It's like when like the big problem, right, with cinema as it stands at the moment, right, is that when something's successful, what do movie studios do? Let's do more of the same.
Yeah, more of the same. But more of the same, that's not what people want.
No, exactly. I mean, what people want is like, yeah, it's great when they carry stories on, or, you know, people get invested in the franchise and they end up, you know, doing more with it. But sometimes, like Marvel's now finding out, saturation is not a fucking good thing, because you know, people are getting pretty tired pretty fucking quick.
It's a risky game. Saturation is a risky game. Like, yeah.
And it's the same mistake they're making with Star Wars as well. It's okay, you're not getting a lot in the way of Star Wars movies.
No, but like...
but you are getting a lot in the way of Disney Plus Star Wars.
Yeah, well, like good writing thing. And also, I think recently they changed the director of Star Wars to the director of... they changed the
creative head?
Yeah, the creative head of it's Mark Filoni is not
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni is now the main. Not Dave Filoni, maybe the other one. Which one is the one with the cowboy hat?
Dave Filoni.
Okay, Dave Filoni is now in charge of the director of the artistic thing.
Okay, interesting.
He was the one who did the best, like homage, like just keep like to the like it was not the best. But it was the most like Star Wars, as it was the most like he understood more the material of
yeah, but he was involved in. I mean, I know like the Mandalorian initially when it came out done very well for itself, but then but I've only seen the first
other people get involved in it. That's the problem. No problem.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, more people get involved in it, and it's I don't know. Like, at the end, it was like Mark, like what's his name?
Mark Millar.
Mark Miller.
No, Millar. Millar. Millar.
No. Anyway. Why are we talking about this?
No. Basically, I was talking about like the original creators getting involved, becoming on board as part of the creative team, and being able to, you know, to if the work's going to be adapted, it's not just about like maintaining their grasp on their creation, but also like I mean, does it always work? Probably not, because apparently like J.K. Rowling, I mean, I know she's a bit of a controversial figure for some reason, I don't know really why, but yeah, J.K. Rowling is very much part of the while she wasn't part of the writing team from the Harry Potter series, she was part of the writing team she actually wrote the scripts for Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it's not doing very well at all, because she's not, from what I understand, the big problem is she's not really a screenwriter, she's a novel writer. And as a result, like some of her concepts are not necessarily translated to screen. I don't know, I haven't seen it. But this is kind of like what vague chatter I've been able to pick up from various sources. And also the films just haven't done very well.
No, from
what I understand. I'm not really invested in the franchise, so I don't honestly care. But sometimes it does work out. I think with Mark Millar being willing to be a participant in the creative process, although it's his material that they're working from.
You say they changed it a lot as well.
Yeah, they did change it a lot. They
maybe
changed
because
it
they wanted to put it on the TV screen as well, like, you know, like on the movie screen.
Yeah, I mean, but I think also what they wanted to do is they wanted to tell, essentially, they're telling the hero's journey in a, new set. They're taking a slight twist on the comic book genre. They're telling the traditional hero's tale, and I think it does it pretty fucking well, to be perfectly honest. It does it very well indeed. And I think that I just kind of wish, like, that people would be able to take a chance on newer properties now, because I think, like, if you look at it now, like Kick-Ass did fairly well for itself. If I look at Box Office Mojo, like its worldwide gross, which doesn't sound like a lot, I'll admit, is 96 million. Was 96,188,903. All right, that was its worldwide gross, but that was on a budget of 30 million, so it made 3 times its money back plus.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think. I know I keep saying this all the fucking time, but I think the big problem is, like, when it comes to cinema, instead of worrying about they're more worried about producing spectacle than they are producing quality.
Yeah, stories.
Yeah, that's what we're interested in.
Stories. That's why you go to. That's why you rewatch something, is for the story.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like if I know there's a little bit of ambivalence, but people turn around, where a lot of people probably just turn around and say, "Oh, I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix. I'll wait till it comes out on Disney Plus or whatever." But I think also, like, if you give people a reason to go to the cinema, I mean, like, I know, like, the Barbenheimer thing was a little bit of a cultural phenomenon. It was like like lightning in a bottle kind of thing.
Yeah, it was just a strange thing that happened, and people would make it was a meme.
Yeah,
it was not supposed to be funny, but people make it funny.
Yeah,
it's what is a meme, like, basically.
Like what you did with the Barbenheimer.
I thought it was funny because I saw both of them. Like,
I haven't seen Barbie. I want to go.
There was like they're two different opposite movie, and do you know what? They're different movie, and they're both good.
But the thing is, though, I mean, both movies did. I mean, Barbie did better than Oppenheimer, but that's to be expected, because Oppenheimer is very much like a very kind of dark.
No,
they are very different movies.
It's a different movie. There's no action in Oppenheimer.
No, and also it's not. Basically, Barbie's more of a commercial movie than Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
Oppenheimer's a biopic.
There's a big Mattel logo at the beginning of the movie. Like, it's a commercial movie. It's there to sell a product.
Oh,
Oppenheimer is not there to sell any product. Oppenheimer is not there to sell, like, I don't know, like,
dolls.
Bits
of plastic tap.
Or trip to no. Yeah, no.
Trip to the Apocalypse.
No, Trip to the Apocalypse. No, it's just like, it's not like, it just wants to tell a story.
Yeah.
And Bobby wants to tell a story, but at the same time, there's like a product we need to promote.
Yeah. And obviously, from what I understand, Mattel are thinking, we can do a cinematic universe of our own.
Same for Star Wars. Same for Star Wars as well. So, like, it's a story, but then we have those products we want to promote. Well, and that's where Star Wars become like a bit of a bad, like,
Well, I think, to be honest with you, I mean, I reckon you could solely blame Disney's stewardship.
No, it was George Lucas as well. Like,
no, but George Lucas made the movie. I mean, look, say what you want about George Lucas as a director and writer. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of him, and I'm not the biggest fan of Star Wars. But I'll always give credit where credit's due. I mean, like, the reason why the first movie, like, the first movie was a original take on a traditional tale. Right?
Yeah.
The
prince saving the knight saving the princess to the big bad castle and
And only that, I mean, let's be honest, like, Darth Vader, the moment like, Thanos was built up over movies and movies and movies. Right, Darth Vader walks in one fucking scene. You know exactly what that geezer's about.
This guy is the bad guy. There's a music that follow him as well.
I mean, he looks like a fucking badass.
No, you don't say, "Oh, this guy is a good guy."
Yeah. There's nothing friendly about this geezer.
Even the Stormtrooper, they're the bad guy. That they're like it's like, it's good storytelling, visual storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything complicated.
Efficient.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes, again, show don't fucking tell. Do you know what I mean? And I think, anyway, but the thing is, though, Star Wars wasn't always Star Wars. Star Wars was once upon a time an unknown franchise, based off, loosely based on stuff like from Kurosawa and stuff like that. But George Lucas had an original tale to tell.
Yeah.
Kick-Ass done the same. Scott Pilgrim the same. Do you know what I mean?
The original tale.
Yeah, the original tales original
Guardian of the Galaxy did it as well, like like it's unknown IP and make a great story out of it. Like,
yeah, don't get me wrong, it had the kind of the Marvel branding behind it, which was starting to accumulate a bit of cachet at the time. But yeah, you're right. I mean, these were relatively not relatively. I mean, I used to read Marvel. I'd never fucking heard of Rocket Raccoon. I've never heard of Star-Lord. Never heard of any of these characters.
I am Groot.
Exactly. I'd never. But then by the end of it, we were in love with them all. Yeah, I think. I mean, what Hollywood doesn't seem to realise is, what is successful, right? What do you need to spend $250, $275, $300 million on a movie to create spectacle to get people into the cinema? No. Do you know what I mean? I think you can shoot good movies like this. Again, this movie's budget was fucking tiny, man. $30 million. You're right.
Yes. Water is boiling.
Oh, the water is boiling because it was on the heater.
Okay.
And the popcorn is going to pop again.
It's an empty box.
Twice.
Don't worry about it. So anyway,
I think we say pretty much all we need to say.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we have. I mean, is there anything else we can cover in terms of like cinema in general and how we think this may
Kick-Ass may have involve something. I don't know what came after Kick-Ass, kind of a comedy superhero thing.
Well, to be honest with you, I think what it did really do is establish Mark Millar as properties as being potentially quite financially successful for Hollywood, right? And it's done him, by all accounts, he's done very well for himself, and fair play to the man. But also, like Matthew Vaughn's obviously like established a working relationship with Mark Millar and went on to do The Kingsman, and they're still doing more Kingsman movies. So, like, I think that I don't think Kick-Ass itself is like a movie that's gonna, I think it will look back on fondly. I think it's very, like I said, it's very much of its time. But in terms of like how and the fact that it's a pretty solid, pretty good movie, and it made its money. But I think also like it's just like what it's indicative of is if there's news stories to tell, people will come to them. If there's characters that can be identified with, they will be identified with, and they will develop an audience. I reckon if there was a remake of Kick-Ass tomorrow, I still think it would do fairly decent. And also, you got to bear in mind, like some like Old Man Logan, Civil War, and all that. These are all from like Mark Millar's writing. So I mean, I don't know. I think generally, in terms of reviewing this film, reviewing this film in and of itself, I'd say, to be honest with you, yeah, it's a fine movie, good crack. You'll enjoy it. It's just under 2 hours running time. You'll have a good time with it. I think it's pretty solid. I think there are one or two like heartwarming moments. I think there's strong performances, but in terms of like, and also it shows that if you just give someone their money and tell them to go make a story and get people invested and interested in coming back to it, they will.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah,
make an interesting movie.
Well, yeah, make interesting movies, make good movies, make fun.
And if you have a tight budget, make it even like you have no risk to take,
Well, that's the thing, though. If you look at the special effects and everything else and the visuals and Kick-Ass. Now, again, the movie's
mostly
13
practical.
years old,
mostly practical.
Much practical, but there was some like CGI stuff. All right, it's not it's not fantastic.
The jetpack looked janky though, with this aluminium foil and stuff like that. The jetpack.
Oh yeah, it did.
Kind of look a bit janky, but it's okay. It's fine. The movie is like that. Like the guy was doing like a costume with like a swimsuit. Like.
Exactly. But no, I think it's a really good movie. Do you know what I mean? You're going down rabbit holes by the looks of things.
I am doing the rabbit hole. I shouldn't have the computer in front of me.
All right. Well, what stops you touching mine though? But yeah, but that's the thing though. I mean, like if you've got like if you just got a story to tell, just tell your fucking story. Do you know what I mean? I would rather Hollywood invest 30 in more movies like Kick-Ass and Scott Pilgrim and Constantine and all the other movies that we watched in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Give those IP a chance, like.
Yeah, and not only that, if there's new IPs out there, give them a fucking go. You don't have to spend. This is what I don't understand, right? Is that all this money is getting spent on the same old fucking stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
because it's sure it's going to give us money.
Yeah, but the problem
it's not a guarantee.
No, it's not a guarantee because if you look at the Marvels now, right? Marvels was released a couple of weeks back, right? It has, I mean, outside of like people on YouTube either laughing at it or commiserating for it, you know, if you were to walk up and down to the street and ask people what they thought about the Marvels, they'd be like, "Well, what's the Marvels? Is that a Marvel movie?" Do you know what I mean? They might associate with Marvel based on the title alone, but in terms of like who's in it, what's the story, what kind of, you know, who's the bad guy, you know, what was the conflict? No one's going to be able to tell you anything because like it's got no cultural impact and it's made no money. Yet they spent $200 and something million on this. It makes no sense.
No.
You know, whereas like Kick-Ass, I mean, you're more likely to get something off Kick-Ass, and they spent what, just over 10% of that budget.
But do people still remember Kick-Ass?
Maybe not. Maybe people more of your generation might look back on it, and maybe my generation as well. You know,
the future generation will never like.
I don't think it's going to have staying power. No, I don't think it is. Scott Pilgrim, I think, will get picked up and picked up and picked up.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's like when I was a kid growing up, the movies that were kind of stuck with me would be like Ghostbusters, would be like Back to the Future, would be Goonies, that kind of stuff. You know, and for some people, Star Wars as well.
I never watched the Goonies. I don't know.
Goonies is brilliant, man.
I know.
But that's the thing is like so that would be like the movies I watched as a kid that I look back on with fondness. And I think there will be certain generation who look back on this movie with fondness in the same way as I look back on those movies. Yeah. And so I think but in terms of like being talked about continuously in the culture or whatever else, do I think that's going to happen with this movie? Probably not. But also you got to bear in mind that there's a lot of the cast has gone on to do very well for themselves. A lot of the people behind the camera have gone on to do very well for themselves. It's a good
kickstart. Like, it was a good kickstart.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know,
it was a kickstart. The movie was a kickstart.
I just wish that because also I think it's quite interesting that both Kick-Ass and Scott Pilgrim were both released by Universal, weren't they?
Yeah. But one got like
But neither. I mean, like this probably made more money than Scott Pilgrim.
But Scott Pilgrim has more budget. Scott Pilgrim has more budget, no?
Yeah, it had a bigger budget. I think it had a budget of about $60 million.
Yeah.
So twice the budget. But this made more of its money back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that's the thing, though.
But like in the long run, the movie we remember is
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, of course.
Oh, because first of all, the thing is because of Kick-Ass 2 that kind of destroyed it.
Yeah.
So basically, they spoiled the chance to Kick-Ass to be remembered. Like,
but I think if I remember rightly, I can't remember who directed Kick-Ass 2. Let me just have a quick look.
Right there. It's directed by Jeff. First of all, not the same director.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, whether it's the same director or not,
should have. Like, I still think you should use the same director for a sequel.
Maybe not,
because it's to have a continuity or to have the
aliens.
It's a different movie.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The point I don't think it's necessary. I think what it is like the director. Who was
Mark Miller was in the writer as well. Like,
yeah, he was also so he was involved. And John Romita Jr. was actually involved in it as well, the artist. But the thing is, though, the point I'm making is, I think that the instinct was to try and bring it back towards the original source material, and I think it suffered as a result. Do you know what I mean? Because, I think. Well, just go back up a second. If you can go to the director a second. Let me just, because if I remember rightly, like I said,
this you want to go?
Yeah. What was the director's name again? Jeff Wadlow.
Yeah.
Right, Jeff Wadlow. Right, okay. Jeff Wadlow. From what I understand, what they wanted to do is they wanted to bring it back to the original source material, and I think it suffered as a result because it undone a lot of what was good about the first movie. And
there was a reason why they don't go to the source material in the first movie, because the first material was maybe too dark or too
because I think some things don't necessarily translate. I mean, if you can be some things will work. I mean, you got to bear in mind, Kick-Ass is a very niche comic book.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, I mean, it was released by Marvel, which I didn't realise. It was actually it's not directly part of the Marvel continuity, say, but it's one of, it is a movie. Sorry, it was a IP under their kind of umbrella.
Yeah.
Much in the same way as Constantine used to be part of the Vertigo umbrella, which was under DC, right? But yeah, I think the fact that I think like I said with Kick-Ass 2, they tried to keep it closer to the original source material. It didn't work, and as a result, we haven't had a Kick-Ass 3 or other character. There hasn't been a Hit Girl movie or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Which I think is a bit of a shame.
The IP didn't translate well to the cinema.
No, I don't think they capitalised on the goodwill from the first movie, and I think they undercut. They undone, like for instance, the relationship between Dave Lizowski and I can't remember the girl's name in the first one. If I bring it up here,
it's right there. It's Katy. Right.
So the relationship between him and Katy, they undone that almost straight away without even thinking about it, which I thought was stupid, and it was from what I remember, it was for a really dumb reason. And I just think that they could have done more with the franchise. And like I said, there was potential there for little spin-offs and other bits and pieces to go on as well. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it was unfortunate that happened, to be perfectly honest, because it could have gone on and done It could have gone on and done well for itself and built up a really strong following. Well, probably would never have made $1 billion, but who cares? Mm-hmm. That's not what's really important. I think that also the fixation on making $1 billion at the box office, I think is a little bit too toxic and a bit unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because it should be okay. Look, what you're doing is you're releasing a movie, and if you want to and I understand you want to make money back on that, but rather than trying to put all your eggs in the one basket, because again, the amount of times it's come across where you watch a movie that's got a massive budget and it looks really cheap. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder, I keep kicking it and I will continue to keep kicking it because it deserves it. But it has a massive budget and it looks really, and at some points it looks really fucking cheap and awful.
Yep.
This movie, Kick-Ass, was made for $30 million and it has it looks consistent all the way through.
Yep.
All right. Because they had limitations.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier on, they reused sets. They reused, they didn't have a lot of sets, but they kept reusing. There was creative limitations because of the small budget.
Yeah.
But they made every fucking cent of that they made every cent of that count. Because they didn't have the luxury of being able to redo visual effects. No. Any visual effects, they had to be locked in and they had to make sense. Because that's what they used to do with visual effects. They'd be working in tandem with the effects company. There'd be continuous dialogue. They'd be shooting with that in mind later on. So one looks, there isn't that kind of what's the term? Uncanny valley.
Uncanny valley.
Yeah, there isn't that kind of uncanny valley about it. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes visual effects don't look brilliant, but as long as if you want there to be a consistent look in the movie, you've got to make sure that everything lines up. Mm-hmm. But I think the big problem with current movies is there's also you hear more and more about reshoots and that then
changing director in the middle of the shoot or stuff like that. Yeah,
it's just we hear about the kind of the total clusterfuck that was the Flash movie.
Yeah.
Over the course of many years, different directors.
Most of the DC release was a clusterfuck, to be fair.
Yeah, it was, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The whole thing
because the director was too involved and too they were too involved in those franchises. There's too money involved, so basically they can if the guys say we need a bit more budget or we need a bit more time, and say no, they're like.
No, I think to be honest with you, Blade, right? The remake, because they got what's his name? I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, the new Blade movie that's coming out, they've stopped production before shooting to rewrite the whole fucking thing because apparently it sucked. Do you know what I mean? It's like Disney are making an absolute hames of everything at the moment, it seems. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just talking Marvel. If you look at look at what happened with fucking Indiana Jones earlier on this year. That was an absolute joke.
Yeah.
300 million they spent on that. And it doesn't make any fucking sense. You can make good movies for a lot less money. And it shouldn't be necessarily about spectacle. If you really want to create something that's unique to cinema and beautiful to cinema, say what you want about Christopher Nolan. He shoots IMAX.
Yeah.
And he makes his
stuff. Technology. It's maybe no technology for IMAX. It's not
old. It's relatively new.
It's relatively new. Okay, yeah. But
he shoots film.
IMAX. He makes sure that the everything is beautiful on screen. Edgar Wright. Make sure. Also Edgar Wright. make sure it's do like everything is like snappy, everything is like a rhythm, is like you know.
Yeah.
You see great director. You see like what's the name of the Dune and
Danny Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. It's almost like Denis Villeneuve. I put Denis Villeneuve and the guy from Fight Club. What's his name?
David Fincher.
David Fincher in the same thing. They're just like meticulous. Do like do like every detail count. Do like thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you see that those are the one you should give a good story. After I don't say that only them should make movies. That's not fair.
I think directors should basically like any upcoming director needs to or like producers, like anyone, they need to be looking at people from basically, if you say from the 80s all the way up to kind of the late 90s, early 2000s. Like when like for instance, when fucking Lord of the Rings was made 20 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Well, the first one came out in 1999. And the visual effects, the Balrog still looks fucking fantastic now.
Some of the visual effects have aged up a little bit, but like the Balrog is because it was a masterpiece of visual effects.
Exactly.
It's not because of the power they use it, because the technique they use.
Art direction. Yeah.
They use darkness. They use
Yeah, they were smart, but that's the thing, though. I mean, like when it seems to me, right, that Hollywood. One of the main reasons why Hollywood budgets are blowing up in this ridiculous way is that there's this kind of fix it in post. We've got a massive budget and blah blah blah. It's almost like, I mean, like I keep saying, creativity is born from constraint, right? So if you've got no constraints, that just like allows creators to be lazy. No. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's a real kind of like with like big Hollywood. And again, look, everyone kicks Disney, and justifiably so, because they deserve it. But this kind of fixation with spending absolutely obscene amounts of money on a movie, with the expectation that we'll make $1 billion just on the back of the franchise or the strength of the franchise, I think is absolutely ridiculous. Because like you can't expect that. I mean, you're looking at Birdman now. Birdman is a great example. What was the budget on that? Does it show?
I don't know what it shows. It doesn't show an NPP, but like I couldn't get it for you.
Yeah, okay. That came out about 2014-15. I mean,
but it's an art movie.
Yeah, it's a very artful movie. But again, that movie was done it was basically like to design to look like one take. It wasn't, obviously, but it was designed with that in mind. And that had to work. There was no like. They're able to invest a few vehicles. Trains. No,
that's a.
But yeah, they had to be right from the beginning. They had to plan that out meticulously. Whether it be the performances, there was no chance to fuck around and we'll fix it in post or we'll do reshoots. $20 million that movie was made for, and it looks more expensive than that. Like Kick-Ass, Scott Pilgrim, all these other movies, all these were made sub $100 million.
There was a budget of Kick-Ass?
The budget of Kick-Ass was 30 million.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 million USD.
Yeah.
Right, so...
Even less.
So yeah, that's the thing. The first John Wick movie, like that was made for, what was it again? Like $20 million, wasn't it? $30 million. Like these movies, like I can't understand why like Hollywood doesn't look back and think, all right, okay, instead of like, oh yeah, that made money, do that again. Oh wait a minute, what happened there? That circumstances there led to us to be able to start a new franchise, which has gone on to make more money for us. Like with Marvel initially, like what they did there, they took a massive punt, and it worked. And now it's the biggest cinema franchise in cinema history.
Yeah. Anyway.
Don't worry. But yeah, that's the biggest franchise in cinema history. There are lessons that can be learned, but they're learning the wrong ones. I mean, Hollywood, yeah, spectacle's great. Big budgets, big CGI fist fights with lightning beams going up in the sky or whatever else. All right, every now and again, that's grand. But we don't always want that. You can still make visually amazing movies that draw people into the cinema that don't involve fucking geezers and spandex punching the shit out of each other.
All guns.
It can be done. It's just like what you need to do is like at the end of the day, an industry like Hollywood cannot be done on numbers and analytics alone. You need creativity. You need creative people There's no shortcuts to that. And the money men need to fucking realise that, and money women.
You're not going to use AI to make your scenario as well.
No. Like, look, the thing is, like, AI can be used as a tool. I mean,
Like a pen and pencil.
yeah, maybe. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know how effective a tool it is. I mean, if you look at a lot of AI art, most of it's fucking dog shit.
Apparently, the new Disney movie is like entirely the scenario is entirely written by AI. Same for the songs. It's going to be shite. For the 100 years of Disney, they're going to release a movie that's just entirely made by AI.
Oh,
It's going to be shite, and they know it's going to be shite.
Which movie is this?
Wish.
Oh dear. Named after the fucking website where you buy cheap Chinese shite from.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah, that doesn't sound too optimistic.
Wish and just want to see like AI.
Yeah, go on.
If I'm right. Anyway, no, it's not that.
Okay, won't worry about it.
Okay.
But anyway, look, thing is, like, if you're going to rely too much, like, I think with the whole AI and a conundrum, I think that's becoming a bit of a concern for a lot of creative people for justifiable reasons. Like again, like money men need to realise, like, at the end of the day, you need creative people, right? Yeah. AI is only going to get you so far. You know, analytics will only get you so far. You know, if you don't have the right creative people in places where they can make a difference to your franchises, to your, they will essentially, is what's going to make you money. Do you know what I mean? If you want to make money, the two things you need news stories and you need quality.
Yeah.
You know, you need you invest that money in writing. Invest that money instead of trying to carve up the work between 3 or 4, between 25 different production special effects houses. Why not just give it to 1 or 2? You know, and really kind of give them the resources they need to achieve the look that you're going for. I mean, at the end of the day, collaboration, sound financial investment, not just throwing money at the fucking wall. You know, stop trying to cut corners. Pay people when they need to be paid to do the job you need them to do. You know, at the end of the day, 3 quarterly profits will only get you so far. You ain't going to grow forever. I mean, this is what I don't like about this kind of stock market focused growth, where it's like, you know, you have to be making more money every 3 months in order to be successful. And then stock market, you know, if you want to play for the long term, you know, you have to be a lot more sensible in terms about what you're able to achieve. You can't be expecting every movie to gross $1 billion. It's just not realistic. You know, some will. And more movies than ever have been doing so, but I think that's going to start trailing off quite badly. I think it's already starting to be kind of being noticed. If you want people to come back to the cinema, start putting out good movies. It's fucking simple. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to do. It's easy to say. It's hard to do, but you can't keep relying on what's been successful prior. You know, because at the end of the day, like you said earlier on, you saturate the fucking market and no one wants to go anymore.
Yeah,
and it's a shame.
Anyway,
that's my 2 pence worth.
So, yeah, I think I said everything I want to say.
All right, you've said everything you want to say. I've said everything I'm pretty much going to say on this particular matter. So anyway, what we want to do now at this stage, before we start wrapping up, what are we watching next?
I don't know. You have the list?
I don't have it with me. Bollocks. 1 second.
No, like it's in your note. It's in your note. In your laptop.
Hang on. It's usually kept on I usually have my iPad in front of me. 1 second. Notes. Let's just have a quick. Oh yeah, go away. October. December film list. All right. Okay. So are we
going for December next time?
Well, yeah.
We don't have any more movies. That's the last one for November.
Hang on. What have we done so far?
We did
V for Vendetta, Constantine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, V for Vendetta, Constantine. Scott Pilgrim,
Kick-Ass. I think we have the last one.
No,
we don't have the last one. That was it.
That was it. Oh no, do you know why that was?
Oh, I know. Yeah,
because like.
So should we watch another movie, or we replace it by Scott Pilgrim, basically?
Well, okay. Well, you know what? Actually, no. Tell you what we'll do. Mm-hmm. Right, because one of the movies on our list is Batman Returns. I think that'd be a nice little kind of segue.
Oh my god! in transition thing.
Yeah, we're going to do a little transition here. Okay, so what we're going to do, all right, because for the December film list, it's going to take, it's going to be a bit more of a Christmassy theme. But don't get me wrong, it's all over the place. But one of the movies we chose was Batman Returns, which was set around Christmas time.
Yeah, okay.
So what we're going to do, this is going to be the 1991 Tim Burton directed Batman Returns. So that will be the next one we're going to watch next week.
Okay, that's good. I'm good with that.
Okay, you happy with that?
Okay, I'm happy.
Good stuff. So tune in next week. Make sure you watch that film before you come and watch the podcast, because we don't want people complaining about spoilers. And we'll see you then. So anyway, my name's been John Clare.
I've been Roman Pish.
This has been Post Watch Post Mortem. We thank you for taking the time to watch. We thank you for your time today, and we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Blah 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 blah. And we'll see you next time. So bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.